We got to start somewhere, right? We've got our special guest, Tere Joyce, sitting in with us. Hello, Tere Joyce.
Hello.
And so we as we left the last break, we were talking about you doing stand-up now.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, you know, I did take a bit of like some time off, because like at one point I felt really stagnant, creatively.
Yeah.
And, so I worked on some other projects, like I did a porno. No, I'm kidding. I'm sort of joking, but I'm not joking. I wrote a couple pornos.
You wrote?
Oh, cool.
There
is writing involved.
Yeah, there is. I mean,
you didn't know that?
You know, it kind of came out like sort of a quasi-art film, like the first one, like how old porn was, like, you know, like Behind the Green Door and The Devil Mrs. Jones.
There's an actual storyline behind it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You know,
where
not just, a guy shows up, with the pizza, or a guy shows up to repair something, or a guy shows up with a vacuum, or...
Yeah, it's got like subtext, like, lady slits her wrist and dies and then has anal sex. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
That's good
stuff. Know what I mean? It's like, and it goes, this is the why you don't commit suicide. You know what I mean? Like, like it has like a moral. I mean, and at one point, here's interesting about the film industry that was a porn, like Deep Throat was actually went all the way to the Supreme Court.
Yep.
As part of our free speech or free expression. So, and the filmmaker behind that, I watched a documentary. He said that it was more about that than it was really about the actual sex, was what was like in many ways motivated them. And now the industry is more like sex and money. So like the first movie actually had a plot line. I really cared about the first movie that I wrote. I know this sounds strange. Like
I care about a lot of porno.
But here's I thought the opportunity would be to to maybe have a message in it. I know that sounds like weird in a medium that medium, and I thought this is. What would it be like? And the whole movie, the main message to the movie is that it's about liberation and about our liberation of our sexuality against our the religious institutions, and it questions like it opens up with because it's a hustler movie, and it comes up the director Erica McLean, her and her brother, her husband Clive McLean started the Barely Legal videos, and it starts with her coming out of the Larry Flint building with Cox 11 News, and Kimberly Kane, who's she's in the movie, because she goes, well, do you think porn degrades women? And so it actually kind of questions a question, and then basically she's all oppressed, and she slips, she drops a bottle of lube and slips and hits her head, and then she gets knocked out, because like Wizard of Oz, and she goes to the circus where everybody is sexually liberated. Yeah, I mean, so it's kind of and it was kind of fun, and it got nominated. It got 6 AVN Award nominations.
Wow.
And Ron Jeremy's in it, and I'm actually in it. Like, I wrote a part, and then at some point, I actually ended up facilitating or helping out a sex scene in it.
Well, now.
Okay, and then but it's not, you don't really see it.
Here's your lube.
From
off camera,
that happened too, because Evan Stone, Evan Stone's like a really well-known porn star. He's in the movie, and I ended up being, I was kind of learning a little bit of everything, and so I ended up being the lube girl, and so there's seriously, there's a basket of baby oil, oils, lubes, and tissues, the tissue things, and whatever they would need to clean up or do whatever between takes, because it's broken up into different positions, it's three positions per scene. So at some point they'll take a break, just like in a regular crew, and just have this pause. And so they go, hey, lube girl, we want you to bring the basket. And I'm like,
it's yes, there is a production.
I'm all freaking nervous and stuff. So I'm holding the basket and everything, and I'm walking by, and then Evan Stone's full on and so
what was that?
He's full on,
Oh, gotcha.
And so he goes, okay, so I'm ready for you to put them on, and I'm and so and then everybody on the set cracks up, and I would just kind of go over and give him the basket, and then
yeah, it's hey, I just deliver this shit. I don't know what you think this job entails,
but I mean, it's an interesting world to walk into, and it's very.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but
Sorry, but
union rules. It's 20 after. It's 4:20 with Pacific Time Zone.
Everybody knows this is mandatory.
Sorry to catch you by surprise. We'll continue the story of Terry the Lube Girl when we come back. We are sitting here with Tere Joyce, the Hollywood Hemptress, and unbeknownst to us,
learning about a little bit of her
Well,
past.
I mean, I did work on
dropped a bombshell
that
there.
film. I actually was very much. I was kind of like Eric and I are friends, and it was her first movie that way, and it was a vision that she had. And I know this is going to sound bizarre, but Blue Iris is a comedian that that a lot of people know from Howard Stern,
right.
And so I had known her from way back, and this guy, a friend of mine, goes, and he goes, Blue Iris was important before. I go, no, she was not. Come on, and lo and behold, one time I went into the bathroom stall at Barney's Beanery on Santa Monica Boulevard in Hollywood, and I went, and on it said, Blue Iris sucked Ron Jeremy's dick, and I was like, wow, maybe she must have really been informed. And so,
well, the bathroom wall says so.
Right, according to the bathroom wall, it might be a possibility, and so it was. And we did the medical marijuana float for Gay Pride with DJ Kuti.
Right.
We were like one of the first medical marijuana floats to go down. And so on the float, Erica was on the float, and so was Blue Iris. And so they met and started talking. And, and so Erica got, she said, I had this dream about the circus. So I'm at the Gape Spiritual Center with her. And she goes, I had this dream about a circus, and I want to turn it into a movie, and she goes, and I don't know, maybe Blue Iris can be in it. And she's going this whole thing. And then all of a sudden, somehow in life, I got entangled with being part of that creative process for her, to where it ended up being that I was the writer, and I didn't even expect to do that. It was all kind of weird anyway, And I look at it and I go, well, it's just kind of a life experience, I mean, because what happened was that I worked on this movie called Dirty Jokes, the movie, with Vic Dunlap, who's a late great Vic Dunlap, and Marie Langston, who is actually the unknown comic from
right, the bag on his head.
So they did a movie called Dirty Jokes, the movie, and I was like an assistant to them, and then I also did all these different parts. They threw me in. I go, okay, whatever. Well, one day I go to work with them, and Marie Langston hands me a Post-it, right? And Vic's sitting there, and they go, okay, see, because they hire porn actresses to do the topless stuff and do jokes, the jokey things like that. And they go, well, there's this one scene, Terry, that we really need somebody to go topless that actually could say the punchline, and we want to know if you would actually really do it, and then they had it also the question on the Post-it said, would you do topless? They handed that to me, and I'm like, okay, come on, man. And so I thought about it, and I go, yeah, okay, I'll do it. So I did this, piece, which, by the way, ended up being on YouTube for a while. I go, no one's even gonna, know this, movie or whatever. And I go, and then it gets on YouTube, and my brother goes, oh, Terry, that thing you did? He goes, yeah, it's on YouTube. And I'm like, oh, great. I mean, even to the point where a friend of mine that I've made in India, he said, Terry, I saw a video of you on YouTube. And I'm like, well, let me explain about that. I'm not trying to explain.
Everybody's got to work.
But I'm weird like that. And the reason why, because I think life is just about being an experience anyway. It'd be like, well, what would happen if I did go topless? What would happen? I thought, I go, maybe I want to go topless because, at least they kind of still looked good then. Or,
now, was this before or after the Statue of Liberty poster?
This is after.
So you had gone mono-boobed before.
Right. So, yeah, Statue of Liberty was actually the first time I did any type of nudity, suggestive anything in my entire career so far. But that picture came to me like a vision. I know it sounds strange, but I smoked a little herb, I took a bath, and I wanted to do something with a bong and Statue of Liberty and what that symbolized. And I thought, oh well, but I thought of it as a cartoon drawing first, and I go, well, I think I saw it before, so I Googled it, looked at it, and I saw it, and I go, you'd have to have it be different because it'd have to be original. You'd probably take the idea, big deal. Then a friend of mine said, you photograph well. Why don't you dress up like the Statue of Liberty? And I was like, and I'm like, okay. And then in my mind, I just saw it. It was like, oh my God. And it was like, and I did, I saw like the breast with the marijuana leaf over it, and I thought, and I go, I do that because, and I thought it hits the zone. It's like, I'm free. It's a bong. It's hemp. And honestly, that's Isis, basically, the goddess. So, which means, so it's, and also the breast is like, you know, the nature of nurturing, you know, and even the Statue of Liberty, even, that's why it's drawn that way. It's to show the breast of the nurturing of the goddess, you know, and so, and then I thought to put a marijuana leaf right there in that spot, you know, it hits your brain all the way. You go, look, that's the point. Some people didn't get it at first.
I think I still got the poster over on the wall there somewhere.
But that's kind of like the thought process that went behind it. And so that's the first time I ever decided to come out that way and to do a picture like that. And you know, as a woman, you know, there's a little bit of shame, like, well, should I use my sexuality? You know, because I had this thing about exploiting your, you know, feminine essence for money or, you know, whatever, boost your career, you know. And so, but I thought for that cause, fuck yeah. Well,
all right.
Why not, you know?
Right on.
So,
we are digging on that.
Studio audience loves it.
Big fans. We're sitting here with Tere Joyce, Hollywood Hemptress on Atomic Comedy Network. It's just AtomicComedyNetwork.com?
Yeah, it's AtomicComedy.com.
Now, we were talking earlier about porn.
Yes.
And so there was a recent, I can tie this into politics.
Okay.
Because there was a recent vote in Los Angeles on, I think it was Measure B, to require all pornography performers in Los Angeles to wear condoms.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So,
that's good.
You know, I was gathering signatures around that time.
Yeah.
You know, there was the Monsanto one about like
the GMO labeling.
Labeling. And that one, I go, I will not get signatures for that one.
Yeah.
I felt very and the reason why is because the porn business has the least incidence of any type of HIV, AIDS, you know, diseases anywhere. It's the cleanest. If you want to have sex with somebody and not worry about getting
porn
STD,
star.
Sleep with a porn star.
I'm working on it.
I mean, they're like, because you can't even go to work without going in and having your Ames test, you know, which just means they legally they have to be tested and like okay to even like walk in on the set. That's why they don't have to wear condoms.
Right.
That's why they can keep it real. And you know, I mean, that's
people who aren't in the industry, they don't know this, and then they see the product, and it's
I'm like, well, why are you slapping that on them? Mm-hmm. What is this control when obviously how do you not know that you know you're just preying on the stupidity or the misunderstanding of most people, you know, of what really goes down because they don't understand. And maybe if they got educated about it, we would all be healthier, you know. And you know, there are things that I learned about safe sex and this and that and blah blah, hands down by walking into that industry of things that I had no idea about, and yet most people don't know anything about it.
Well, a lot of people,
to that extent,
people don't like learning about things that are uncomfortable socially, you know, and
well, there's this big taboo. It's the same thing. It's like porn and pot, you know. It's like there's a level of like, well, I don't want people to know that I'm doing it, you know. I'm still okay. I have lots and lots of friends like that. Yeah. There was a girl that you know, she like was a roommate, and she like there was her bra and had fallen against like a weed pipe and like and like a hippie. I don't want to say the word hippie. It was like sort of I don't know, like new agey kind of like, you know, like Taft can thing or whatever. And they go, and so I'm like, oh, that's a cool picture because I'd smoked a little weed and I took out my camera and I shot it with the bra. You know what I mean? Because to me, that's sort of, you know, it's like, whoa, happiness, you know? And I just found it interesting. And she was, oh, what if my dad sees that that's my bra on that? And I go, well, you know, I have a bra just like it. So, you know, it could be my bra, you know? I know, but he probably knows that I'm this kind of like cup or whatever. And I'm like, wow, you're that scared to let anybody, like, I mean, you're like in your 40s. You know, you can't tell your dad that you smoke pot, you know? I mean, my parents know. You know, it's like, it's that kind of hidden thing that most people probably look at porn, or they have looked at porn, or they've had, you know, they've had porn at one point in their lifetime. You know, it's like the same thing with marijuana. It's got this like sort of And so if we could just like get out of the open about stuff, my feeling about like the porn industry that I feel that, and this is the reason why I don't really want to create in it anymore, is because there's a lot of human connection. It squashes our sexuality down into this little pancake in some ways, when the total expression is much larger than that. And so in some ways I still think it keeps us in this lower set of thought patterns about how to relate to one another or how our sexuality really is. So, I mean, I know that probably sounds like weird, and people they're like, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Like, I've told people, I want to have a more spiritual experience when I have sex. And they go, you believe in God? I'm like, I'm like, okay. I mean, I've read recently, or I've understood recently, that even in the ancient times, like in the Egyptians, like sex is a very, very powerful energy that does something to us, to make us all like run on all four cylinders, maybe, and that it's been misharnessed. And they actually did techniques like with the Ankh. The Ankh was them doing something that could like capitalize the power of their energy, and I thought that and I thought that's interesting to me. It's like where has like that gone to like in like some sort of like offbeat tape and some pervy dude with a big fat ass behind the camera. But, is this the first time that you ever been with a woman before? And then he goes in there and starts getting involved. Like, I don't want to see you. Get out of there.
Hey, we have a phone call coming in on our line at 971-533-7111.